Hello everyone, we are back. We have Tempest Mask doing Blaster Master Zero. Take it away.
Hello, friends and fellow gamers. My name is Tempest. Some of you know me as Steve, and I am very happy to be back for Pixels for People yet again. Much appreciative to Karter and crew for the pleasure, as always. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit special. So, you're usually seeing me run some Mega Man games, or even sometimes some platformers. This time around, we're going to do things a bit more interestingly with Blaster Master Zero. And thanks to your generous donation incentives, I'm actually going to be showcasing the two-player mode. So, joining me as my second player and also my sole commentator, or extra commentator, is my good friend Xerobladedge.
Hello. How's it going?
And you will be seeing him perform quite a few runs over the course of Pixels for People as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. Right now, though, for all intents and purposes, I have him as a reactive image, which will be situated to my right, which is to your left, presumably. However mirror directions work. With that said, we are doing this on the Steam version of Blaster Master Zero, and we are using Parsec in order to remotely co-op, because Inti Creates never had a huge track record for putting online co-op into their games, but this is perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable. And so, to that end, we're just going to get this started. Time will begin once we gain control of the tank. So, Zero, you ready, man?
I am ready.
All right. Let's get this thing going. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so, for those who are unaware of Blaster Master, the original game, it was launched in the late 80s as an NES title that sort of predated most Metroidvanias, and so this was a celebration and reboot of the series, which was a joint effort by Inti Creates, the same developers behind the Mega Man Zero franchise, as well as Azure Striker Gunvolt, Galgun, and a whole bunch of series. They've been really popping off with some recent releases and then some, so your chances are you have heard of them. But yeah, they essentially teamed up with Sunsoft, the original developers of the Blaster Master series, in order to make a trilogy of what we know as the Zero series, which, go figure. But yeah, these are some wonderful, wonderful titles. Unfortunately, this is the only instance of having co-op in the game, but admittedly too, Zero One was considerably ambitious in how many extra features it adds into the game without needing paid DLC. So I'd also consider it the most replayable as well in that sort of fashion. But as of right now, you're noticing that my objective is I am playing as the protagonist Jason Frudnick, whereas Zero is going to be my aim assist. It is essentially a very similar feature to that of Super Mario Galaxy. So it's kind of an assist mode, but it also makes the run considerably easier in some aspects. For instance, Zero, I could use a gun power-up coming up. A big one, preferably. Yep, there we go. And what you just saw right there was him expending two... don't hit that one, don't hit that one. Oh, wait, I know what you're doing.
I said, stay out of the way. You didn't do it. No. So my whole goal is I'm going to just take out random enemies throughout the rooms in the game to build the circle around my reticle. And then, like Pippa said, I can hold R1 and the colors on my reticle, I can hit either like triangle, square, or X, because I'm using a PS5 controller. I can give him drops, and I can also help out with bosses. So like the first boss coming up here, after it gets done with its little charge, we will both be mashing at the same time to kill the boss.
And I will be trying to take some damage boosts, even though I also have to be very mindful of my health, because in Blaster Master fashion, your invincibility frames are pretty low. So with that consideration, I do have to be extra considerate of how game overs can affect me, because you saw that I was sent right back to the beginning of the dungeon, and, you know, that wasn't the worst case scenario. This is only Area 1 after all, but for future reference, I'm going to try not to let that happen any longer. So we have wrong warped into the territory of Metroid. Here's Mother Brain. Ah, that was perfect.
And just like that.
That was perfect. So, I will say too, Zero's controller does have a turbo function involved with it, so I assume that the community does not have a problem with that sort of thing. I will obviously try...
I'm not using turbo, I'm actually mashing.
Oh, you are mashing? Okay, well that's even better.
Yeah, I'm just using my base PS5 controller.
There you go. And as for me, I'm actually using a Switch Pro controller, which for... Oh, no. I could use some health. Or not.
I was trying to clear the way for you.
You would have wanted to black hole those ones.
I did.
Wait.
And then the more came.
Well, fair enough. So... I mean...
That's how we do it.
Yeah, that's how we do it. To clarify on that particular attack that Zero has going, that only is able to destroy certain enemies. Aside from that, it is mainly with the intent of destroying projectiles. So, you know, the more basic shots that get fired at me as compared to the more advanced tier ones you might see some other enemies use, the black hole is good to take those out. Like that little pink little bean that mouth enemy just shot right there. Yeah, stuff like that.
But the black hole doesn't give me energy, so I try to use it as sparingly as I can because I need energy to give gun power-ups and health, like I said.
Yeah, and the main difference comes between whether I'm on the side-scroller sections with Sophia Third, the metal attacker that I'm controlling right now, or the top-down sections. So Zero can award health in both cases, but in terms of the side-scrolling sections, he can drop SP. And that is especially a handy resource because in Blaster Master Zero, as compared to the original game, it is a jack of all trades. It is your sub-weapon ammo, and later on it will also be used for hovering, which is a godsend because in the original Blaster Master, there was a specific gauge for your hover ammunition, and whether or not you got that from enemies was going to be randomly generated or determined or what have you. So Inti Creates and Sunsoft really streamlined a lot of the things behind some of the original nuances of BM and brought it into something considerably more polished in BMZ. But as of right now, we are going through Area 2, and the name of the game for any percent is we do not need to worry about any of the optional pickups and only focus on collecting the main upgrades. And the reason for that is because the first case with Mother Brain is I got the Hyper Shot, and that not only increases Sophia Third's attack power, but also allowed me to damage the higher tier enemies like the mouth wall enemy that blocks your way. Now in the case of the second boss, or major boss here in Area 2, there will be one more such upgrade, but afterwards it's going to be just functionality. There's just one more attack buff here, and that will also be what allows me to destroy those yellow blocks. Oh, you're good. Don't worry about it. That will bar the way, like those two right there. I cannot destroy those right now because I don't have the upgrade. Now, if we were playing as certain DLC characters, on the other hand, that's a different story. I'll let you drop the health this time. Yeah, go ahead and clear those out. Alright. Cool.
I'm gonna drop you a big health real quick.
Go ahead. Alright, cool. Now, one thing that I could do is, at any given point, it is possible to go into a special pause menu. There are two pause menus in the game, one from plus, one from minus, and I can use the retry feature once I've hit a checkpoint, and that'll completely refill my health, but in the co-op run, it does come at the detriment of Zero running out of gun, or rather item energy within the reticle, so that does reset whenever I have to do that. But it is pretty handy, and will also be used for some pretty speedy tricks regardless, so yeah, just a little prelude to that.
But while he's moving around in these rooms, I'm just taking the opportunity to farm.
Yeah. There is one upgrade in the game that, unfortunately, any percent runners are mostly going to ignore, called the Energy Guard, or EN Guard, and it is the one godsend of keeping your gun intact, because what it does is you can take a single hit and then your gun will be vulnerable when you next take damage, but it has a very fast recharge rate too, so most players are going to go for that on their casual go-throughs. The problem with that is it's located in a sub-dungeon that is way out of the way from the main path, and so that's why any percent runners typically just forego that. Okay, this is alright. Okay, we've got some time to make up, so let's go ahead and do that, and drop me 1 mini health. Alright, cool. Just a little bit of careful planning at this point, so with that, the fabulous Crabulous. So fabulous, he decided to spawn. Shout out to my friend Scavenger, who was the famous GDQ runner that caused him not to spawn during a race. Okay, so this is where he starts to shoot things, and that was the boss. Yep, that's pretty much it. So yeah, we can destroy the claws, and those will have the chance of dropping items. That can be pretty helpful. From here on out, I will not be going into any top-down dungeons up until Area 5. And one of the benefits of having the Player 2 co-op is that Zero will be able to give me some gun power once we get to that point, and that'll be very necessary for that area's main boss. But until then, we will be keeping ourselves inside the tank, and as of right now, we will be proceeding on to Area 3. So, like I said, Sophia did end up having one final attack upgrade, and from here on out, it's going to be functionality purpose. So the next ability we're going to be getting is the hover. And like I mentioned earlier, there is SP that feeds into that instead of its own gauge, so much more streamlined than the original. Another feature that will be making its return later on will be the swim gear as well as the wall drive. And we'll definitely talk a little bit more about those. But as we are going into Area 3, this is where we pull off a very interesting trick, or at least I will anyway. This is mainly on Player 1. So Zero, if you'd like to explain while I go ahead and focus a little.
So what Tippus is going to do, he's going to go through this whole area, and you saw that we were hitting checkpoints and the save points. He's going to avoid all of those, because when we get to the next big boss, which we're going to find in our tank, it's the charge gear, we're going to do that save and reload that Tippus was talking about. And what that's going to do is we're going to keep our hover, but we don't have to backtrack at all. So it's going to make our life a little easier. Also, for those not in the know, you can shoot the yellow doors and keep them up. So if Tippus were to like whiff a door, I can on my end jump in and keep the door up. But Tippus is doing pretty flawless at this area right now. So like this save point where my reticle's over, yeah, we're not going to touch that.
Yeah, that's another type of low-tier enemy that Zero can destroy with the black hole, and thus making my life just a little bit easier. I will give a quick shout-out to the some of the other categories that we have on the leaderboard, because like I said, this game had a lot of stuff going into it, and one of those modes is Unlimited Mode, which is essentially a New Game Plus. And if I were to play as the tank that you can use in that feature, doing so gets me access to all of the main abilities and upgrades, and thus this entire section you can see here, I can just skip that by driving up the wall. It's It's pretty fun. But the big difference between normal any percent and that unlimited mode there is that it is also the fastest any percent because you have access to all the areas, which means really you just make a beeline to the final area, beat the boss, and that's it.
Yeah, another good category is DLC characters. Gunvolt, Ikoro, and Shantae and Shovel Knight?
Correct.
Yeah, which, you know, being a Mega Man and Gunvolt runner, Ikoro and Gunvolt are the only two that I own.
I own all the DLC, and that's thanks to my good pal David TKI, who was the first co-op partner that I did with this game, and is a master runner at the original Blaster Master games. So big shout-outs to him.
So here's the boss. We're gonna hope he doesn't do an attack. I don't remember what the attack is. I believe it's when his eye turns blue.
No, the railgun attack we want to see.
Oh, okay.
That I don't want to see. That's annoying.
Oh, he got away from me.
Yeah, he can do that sometimes. Oh, but hey, he's doing this attack.
Yeah, I can just sit here and match the eye while you dodge.
I love that sound effect, by the way, so at least y'all got to hear it. Yeah, this is not the best RNG for Central Gear this time around, but what can you do?
We practiced this last night, and I'm not kidding. The boss didn't move. He got revenge on us.
Yeah, the gear giveth and the gear taketh.
Yeah, so now Tippus is going to save the game, soft reset, and go just reload the save file real quick.
And
Make sure to hit multiplayer.
Yes. And the big thing about this is that I chose to soft reset because, well, for one, Inti Creates is usually including that in most of their video games as an homage to their handheld days, but also this game did come out as not just a Switch launch title, but maybe a couple weeks after did also release for the 3DS. This is the only title to have made the 3DS, much like Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 1, but even then, the idea being that in the Switch and PC version of BMZ1, soft resetting is fastest because you immediately go back to the title screen. In the case of the PS4 and Xbox versions, I also own the Xbox version, those have it where you see these splash screens for Inti Creates and Sunsoft, so you are losing a little bit of time in that way. But in that case, I just go to the exit feature in the menu, which is the next best thing. And by no means does that make those console versions bad to run. If anything, it just means you gotta do things a teensy bit differently, and even then I'd still say those are some solid versions to run, because really this game is not all that intensive in graphical quality.
Didn't mean to do that.
You know what, I was gonna forgive you anyway. But yeah, as someone who has bought the entire trilogy on the Xbox digitally, yeah, I do not necessarily regret my purchases whatsoever. In fact, I would say too that really, this game is one of those things that I just allowed myself to get multiple versions of. It's not every day that I usually do such a thing, but Inti Creates, that's my usual exception. So, and I mean, who can complain? They make some wonderful games, and that is that.
Inti Creates is also my excuse. I'll just use that.
And I also will
Being
give
an Inti Creates runner has kind of turned into a vibe.
It really has, though. Yeah, shout out to all the speedrunning communities surrounding the Inti Creates games. Just some wonderful and talented people going about, no doubt. And yeah, I would also say too that my obvious regards to the Blaster Master speedrun community, which has been nothing but awesome veterans of the series, and then some of whom I've had the pleasure of getting as commentators. And yeah, Scavenger, who I gave a quick shout to for Crabulous, was one of those people. So yeah, there's not really too much going on here, except that we are doing the same thing that I did in Area 3 here for Area 4. The big difference is this is a labyrinth area, so it's not just a maze, but I want to be extra careful because the entire structure goes down. So if I die, I got to repeat all of this, and for that reason, I'm actually going to ask for big health.
Yeah, I was getting ready to... Oh, we got it. If I can hit the right button.
Yeah, there we go. If you can hit the right button, indeed. Yeah, that is just one of those things about having to run on Parsec. There is going to be a slight delay, despite how optimal I feel my setup is, generally speaking. But yeah.
Well, also, 90% of the games I run, the main form of things is the L2, R2 button, so I'm just immediately like, oh, L2, or R2, not R1.
That's also valid. As we are traversing the second half of Area 4, I think this is a good time for any announcements.
Right now, we don't have any new donations to read off, but I will talk a little bit about the charity. So, for anyone that is not familiar with what Child's Play is, Child's Play basically provides games, toys, books, and technology to children's hospitals. There's 190 plus pediatric hospitals around the globe that are part of Child's Play that are, getting help from this. They also have some other really cool stuff. Like they have these like VR things that let you experience what it'd be like to be in an MRI machine for children, so that they can experience what that's like before they go into the machine, so that they don't get scared and need to be sedated before they go in. They have these little like tablet I don't know how to describe them, like little tablet robots that they can use for kids that are like stuck in a sick kid hospital, so that they can go to like their graduation and stuff like that, and experience being there. There's a lot of really cool stuff that Child's Play does. Any little bit helps, and like even as little as $19 can provide that no fear MIR experience to a single patient. They also have stuff where they also like provide 3D printer supplies to make like art projects with patients and stuff like that. So there's lots of really cool stuff they do. On top of that, we have like for helping and donating towards this, you also get entered into some prizes that we have for Pixels for People. The $5 one that we have is the Absolutely Ace bundle, which includes Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and Ghost Trick. The $10 one has it's called the Mega bundle, which has Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2, Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, and Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection 1 and 2. And then $20 in donations, and this is all in total, so like whatever you donate throughout the entire event gets totaled up at the end. The $20 one is a $100 US Steam gift card.
Ooh, so, that's a good one.
Yeah. Even if you can't support monetarily, just being here is like really helpful. Just like spread the word. But if you do end up being able to donate, then you get entered in a raffle. You get a chance to get some pretty cool stuff. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
so share the stream, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. Share it with your friends, your family, your aunt, your uncle. Share it with everybody.
Absolutely. You can even share it with your dog. Shout out to my dog, Sammy.
Speaking of donations, though, I actually did just get a donation.
Hey.
So from Filene Taylor, we have a donation for $5 saying, I missed Ryan's Mario Tennis, but I'm also a Blaster Master fan. Looking forward to seeing the ending and other upcoming runs like Earthbound. Good luck, have fun.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey.
That went towards the Perfect Dark 4 extra agent missions, and also went towards the Balatro final deck choice, which they chose the red deck.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, Balatro has a lot of interesting deck choices that you could go through. I still remember some of the GDQ options that they had for their bid war. One of my personal favorites that they presented was Critical Role, which actually I had the absolute pleasure of meeting some of the members of the cast at New York Comic Con this year. So big thanks to Sam Riegel and Taliesin Jaffe for being such wonderful people to chat with. But aside from that, we are going through Area 5 now. One thing you noticed with the boss Ribaroll, or as Scav likes to call Frog the Fred, Area 4's boss was a sort of reinventing of the frog boss from the original Blaster Master, except this time taken from the 2D tank perspective. So that was one thing that they kind of changed in between the NES title and this one. So nice little detail right there, and it won't be the last time you see such a thing. But also, too, you noticed I did do a save, or rather a checkpoint, and then a retry. And yeah, that was definitely intentional to fully recover Jason's health, as I had mentioned beforehand. This entire section, though, is where you have to put your swimming to the test, because how Jason swims is you hold up to have him do that upward swim motion as compared to some games that used the jump button for that. We got the big fish guy coming up. Okay, cool. Yeah, one thing about those enemies is that actually Jason's blaster rifle is capable of destroying them. It's just not easy to do because his damage output is not the strongest when outside of the tank, and he also does take double the damage that Sophia III would. So let's see how to figure this one out, because I am going to need your big gun, but I'm also going to need some health too. Oops. Okay. Yeah, that'll do for now.
Just take all my energy, why don't you? I farmed that from soil. From seed, rather.
Valid. Ooh, what was that?
I can't shoot that.
I'll just switch it up right now, just in case. We have glossed over very briefly, or rather, no, we've just straight up glossed over when it came to the different gun modes. So, like with the original Blaster Master, every gun energy Jason collects will give him a new level. And yeah, I already mentioned too that whenever I take... Hey!
That wasn't intentional.
That just gave me a nice unexpected buff right there. You love to see it. Oh, that was beautiful. Someone clip that, please. Anyway, moving on. So that actually was very handy because, like I said before, one of the big buffs of having Player 2 and the ability to drop items is the gun power-ups. I need a maximum gun for level 7. Oh, by the way, 07's to Fish
Hi,
Friend.
Shark. Yep, bye, Shark. 7's in the chat.
Yeah, this game has a, I believe it's an E rating, but it does also mention mild fantasy blood, and that's exactly what that was. Forgot about the...
Also, Karter,
whoop.
that is the best emote on Twitch right there. That Munker used.
Can I survive that? I can. Okay, good.
Hold on. I
Yeah.
got you. At the wrong button.
All right.
You can have that anyway.
I mean, I'm gonna do a retry over at the boss gate, but the point is that I have the gun ammo, so we're good. But yeah, we're just gonna focus on trying to mash some more shooting into this upcoming guy, because Hardshell, or Zoidberg as Scav likes to call him, actually, I don't even, you know what, no, forget the retry. Let's just get on with it, because we can just take him. All right, here we go. So the big guy here...
I tried to skip the cutscene.
Oh, you did.
I don't know why, but I did.
All right, here we go. Just like that. It's not as easy to handle when you're just playing by yourself, and for good reason. That boss will more often than not start to change angles or directions as to where he's going to be facing, crawling, and at that point the boss just ends up getting out of your way. More often than not, anyhow. Like, if you're lucky enough that he goes in your direction, then at that point you've got the saving grace, but any other time, any other RNG, no. No, he's not going to be your friend. So we are making our way back to the tank, which I now have acquired the swim gear, and that was the whole point of coming into this area in the first place. But again, this is one of those ones that the gunvolt run can completely forgo, and for very good reason. But even then, just having the ability to swim as Sophia will still be a boon, because I'm going to be holding the jump button right now, and you're noticing those bubbles coming out of the side jet when I do that. That is the faster swimming movement. It doesn't save too much more time, but it also kind of adds up nicely, because you're going to see me go through this current, and using the swim gear in that way does allow us to fight the current and skip the otherwise casually intended route that I assume Inti Creates and Sunsoft would have had us going. Which I imagine, though, they also...
I forgot I don't need to shoot anything here.
Yeah. Those guys are
They
just...
do it themselves.
They just do it themselves. They exit stage right and explode.
But yeah, this is that whole classic RPG Metroidvania trope of going through all of the things to get to one thing, to go to the one room and move on.
Yeah, what he said. So, Area 6 coming up. This is the glacier area, but this actually has a very interesting twist to it in that some of the top-down sections are what's called control rooms, and in order to progress through some of them, you are required to activate the ice, like so. And so, I'll also do the backwards walk because I just want to be Michael Jackson, I guess. Anyway, no, but at this point in the game, there will be some sections that will require the use of the control rooms in order to reach. Some of them are optional, though, and I will be skipping them because it also means not having to deal with those hovering robot sentry enemies that do a huge icicle attack from 6 different directions. And not having to bother with that menace of an enemy attack, it's for the better. But at the same time, Inti Creates and Sunsoft did have the idea of making them able to destroy the ice blocks that surround them, so they are useful in that way. And yeah, I'm just mostly mashing and stuff. Whoop. Okay, yep, that's a good example right there of how those things can clear up those things. And do all the things.
Yes, David. I have the chat open, by the way. David, the urge to shoot everything is very high.
Yeah. Hey, David. All right, moving forward and up into here. So this is where casual players often... I'm gonna retry just because I forgot that my SP was low. Sorry about that, but...
I had full energy. I could have gave you SP.
Oh, you know what? I should have. I don't know which one was faster anyway.
Now I have to shoot everything again.
Hey, man, you know you like shooting everything regardless.
I mean, yeah. If you really want to see me shoot a lot of things, make sure you watch tomorrow as well.
I might know a thing or two about that. Yeah, at the moment we are traversing through Area 6, and this is where I will be avoiding the control room. Oh yeah, go ahead and shoot those. Just get yourself some free energy, why not? I'm gonna do a damage boost right here through these gigantic caltrops. There are some weapons in the game. In fact, the lower right area of this room will lead you to a optional dungeon where you can get one of the Sophia cannon upgrades. And in that case, it's capable of destroying the caltrops. So, yeah. Maximum Shot is a pretty fun ability, but it also has the balancing effect of it deals damage to yourself if you're caught in the explosion.
It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything is fine.
But we don't have fire. So how is this actually fine?
Don't worry about it. I got it covered.
Oh, hey, there's our Fred. So, quick discussion of the plot. This game combines the original Blaster Master plot along with the original Japanese Famicom version, Shouwakusei Senki Metafight. And the game is a sequel of Metafight for at least 10 or so years afterward, and in the time since, things have been happening on Earth. So, the first game for Famicom had it where you were on the planet Sophia, whereas Sunsoft decided, we'll keep the Sophia name, but we'll apply it to the tank you control. But yeah, this tank is called Sophia 3rd, and then the original planet Sophia has been saved by the pilot Kane Gardner of the original Metal Attacker. Since then, Metal Attackers have been mass-produced by the Sophia Defense Force, and one of which ended up on Earth. First try, there we go. That one's not an easy trick to pull, but that is performed by the world record holder Diogin, who I first became aware that you could do this sort of thing through his world record, and is also coincidentally the current world record holder of the Any % Jason category as well. Funny story behind that one. As I was saying, though, so Kane Gardner saved Planet Sophia. Since then, Metal Attackers have been made and sent out to other planets in the ever-growing fight against the mutant forces, also known as the Invem. And at this rate, Earth is now currently under siege from a horde of mutants. We as Jason are discovering them while also trying to locate our friend Fred, the frog-like creature that he wanted to study, and yeah, now here we are. I can eventually summarize it better. Welcome to Ancient Freeze, the fun police, or as I like to say, Ancient G's. And here we go. To put a long story short on that one, first off, I need some health big time. Oh gosh. Thank goodness for the reflect gun on that one. I guess I'll just be using grenades for now. Ah! Game, how dare you? Yeah, as you can see right here, these eyes are mostly focused on opening and closing whenever they so choose. Otherwise, they will shoot those lasers. And there we go. That wasn't too horrible. It could have gone worse, but yeah, that wasn't
the only
shabby.
thing though I can say about the OG Blaster Master series is play everyone but the PlayStation.
Wait, you don't like blasting again, really?
I bought blasting again at full price. I don't want to blast again.
You poor man. But like, I've been very curious about playing the game all the same. Ah, jeez. I don't know what to say anymore, but, you know, that was actually one of the first instances of the Blaster Master series getting voice acting. Actually, the first, if I recall correctly. And also did expand upon what Eve, our co-pilot, originated from as well, which was a novel by the series name Worlds of Power. And so Blaster Master was one of the titles, alongside Ninja Gaiden and several others, that got a fresh new coat of paint in terms of their respective books. A few details were added here and there. Eve was pretty popular enough that actually Sunsoft decided to canonize her in the original Blaster Master games, and then here we are with her now in BMZ. At this point in the story, we actually just learned that she is the android of Sophia 3rd, because each Metal Attacker since the first one has been designated with a support animal, that being Fred in this case, and a support droid, that being Eve. And another fun fact, she's actually the artificial daughter of Kane and Jennifer, the original creator of the first Metal Attacker, so it's a pretty cool stuff that goes behind the lore, if you ask me, and I would highly recommend y'all try it for yourselves, because I've only just scratched the surface, quite honestly. It's a very simple story, but there are some extra hidden details behind some optional conversations you can do with Eve in the menu. It is just a really well-made game, and I still remember falling in love with the Blaster Master series because of BMZ when I first heard about it, like, sometime after the game came out in 2017. And again, the fact that this was one of the Switch launch titles is wonderful. My only thing with the Switch version is if you intend to do co-op, please use a different console version or the PC version, because unfortunately the Switch version, for whatever reason, it restricts you to using half Joy-Cons with each player. You have no other alternative control options as far as I am concerned, aware. At this rate, we are doing some more backtracking. So now that we've cleared Area 6, we gotta go back to Area 3, because the wall drive will be needed to open the way to Area 7. So we have quite a bit of time to catch up on some announcements. Karter, the floor is yours.
We don't really have any new announcements, and we did just talk about the prizes and what it's all about recently, so I think I'm just going to have to actually leave it with you there.
That's fair.
Sorry to say.
I mean, honestly, that's all well and good. I mean, it's been a while. How have you been, truly? Seems like the event has been going quite well so far for my incentive to have gotten met super quickly.
I mean, overall we're doing really good. We've raised $865 so far. Me personally, I'm doing alright. I'm just a little tired because I've been up pretty early in the morning. But...
Oh gosh, yeah.
The early morning vibes are good vibes.
I am not a morning person. So
I'm not either. I'm totally telling a fib.
Shout
When
out
I
to
woke
the...
up at 6:30 this morning, I was like, who does this to themselves?
Oh man. I was going to say, shout out to the hovering platform up above. It has nothing for Jason, but it does hold something for some of the DLC characters. You'll see, again, I won't spoil, but definitely see for yourselves if you try them out. And one other shout out, this being to some voice actors, or particularly speaking, Phoebe-chan, also known as 2.5D Idol, Kai Guy Idol Phoebe. She is a Twitch streamer and someone that goes around different idol singing events in the US, and is just a wonderful, wonderful creative person, and just a absolute joy to be in the community of. She does voice Eve in the Jason Frudnick boss fight DLC for Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger X2, and thus was the very first person to voice this incarnation of Eve as well. And this physical version of BMZ3 I have was signed by her the first time I met her at a nearby event, so big props to Anime Night Natsumatsuri for having her. It was actually the very day before I left for SGDQ of last year, so fun story behind that one too. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh well. Hey, at least you got to see the menu now that we have Fred, because his icon is placed right under Eve. You know what? No, I'm gonna do it for the fans. I don't care. He makes that riveting noise. And that's all he really is there for, but we love Fred anyway. He's the best boy. And also turns out that he can generate wormholes, which is how he ended up going underground this time. So a bit of a different direction compared to, you know, finding some random box of plutonium in Jason's backyard and growing gigantic because of it. Gosh, the original Blastmaster plot was so zany.
It would have made a good anime.
I agree, though. I do agree. And it's honestly a shock that it never even got one in the first place. But them's the breaks. Maybe one of these days, if there is ever enough traction for it. I mean, I know I'd be down for it, because, like, if you haven't seen the wonderful artwork that Inti Creates has made in promotion for some of their titles, you know, like their various different IPs, they have some wonderful artists, and dare I say, some of the finest sprite artists around the industry, too.
Yes, David, but it's not finding if I put it there.
What do you mean by that?
Talking about boxes of plutonium in the backyard.
True. All right, here we go. You ready, Zero?
Right
there.
Right here.
Here we go. Nice. I fired the missiles just in case. So, Area 7 is kinda sort of Metal Gear vibes. They have thrown in some stealth things, some stealth obstacles into the mix, and how those searchlights work is activating them will generate those red caterpillars, but luckily those are low-tier enemies, so Zero can just erase them. Okay. Yeah, that can happen sometimes, no biggie. It was still pretty optimal.
I did my job.
You did the job, and I did not.
It's okay. We're still having fun.
Absolutely. And we hope you all are too, everybody viewing at home and wherever the heck you are. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I always appreciate it. I just really enjoy getting to do speedrunning. I know I've not been the most active as I used to be with events, because I have been putting a little focus into voice acting as well these days, but yeah, it's just nothing short of wonderful to being just motivated to help others raise money for wonderful causes like Child's Play. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to happen. My slowdown was just a hair short.
Oh no, it was me. I shot it.
No, that doesn't activate it. It's literally the only way it activates is from my driving into it. So you did no such thing, and you are
the urge to shoot is high.
It truly is.
Even though I'm like full up on energy,
which I will potentially need. Who knows? But not now, of course.
Oh, by the way, us talking about bosses and stuff. So this next boss, I can't do anything.
Yeah, there
I
are
can just watch.
iframes. It's shield frames on the upcoming skeleton boss. But before that, I gotta do some more stealth. I need a gun. Big gun. So, talking about Gunvolt, the Striker gun is very clearly based on his Azure Striker ability, but it's also a viable gun when it comes to damage output, because although you can shoot one projectile as long as it's on the screen, you can still rapid fire it if you're in mashing proximity, and it really, really helps, because you notice that for each hit it gets on a single enemy, it will also target everything else that's in the room. This is where this dungeon usually goes to hell, though. So I'm gonna need a big gun. And a big health. Or, actually, no. That's gonna be risky. Big... yeah, that's fine. We'll work with that.
I let go of the button and...
Well, no. You didn't have enough energy for a big health, so it's fine. I'll just play this as it was intended to, and that's okay. How many times have I said it's okay so far in the entire run?
Yeah, I don't know. I lost track.
So did I. And yeah, it had to have been a fair amount. Alright, so skeleton boss time. Yeah, the thing about Jason Frudnick as a protagonist is that he takes some gnarly fall damage. At least 6 blocks high, he will die instantly the moment he touches the ground. For some reason, it does not happen with water, even though that's not really how physics should work. But at the very least, Inti Creates was like, okay, we're gonna... yeah, case in point right there. That's the whole challenge of Skeleton Boss. The fact that you do not want to fall off once. And you have to call the elevator to get Sophia 3 back. The upside to this boss is that for the DLC characters, they do not take fall damage. So that, and also they have the innate ability to warp the tank right to their position. So... well, except for this room. This room still forces you to call down the elevator, so Inti knew what they were doing with that, at least. And in case you're wondering why Shovel Knight and Shantae have appeared in this game, for one, Yacht Club actually did help them with the Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack with its original 3DS release, and that's why Shovel Knight also appears as an extra boss for the 3DS Switch versions of Gunvolt 2 if you have his amiibo. And then, in Shantae's case, Inti Creates did help with some of the development for Pirate's Curse. So, they have a bit of a history with Shantae in that regard. And Way Forward, too. But yeah, at this point, we are now entering the final area of the 90% run. This is Area 8, or as David refers to, the meat level, because it's not an NES-styled game without some kind of pulsating flesh cavern as your last stage, I guess. Brother.
You know, that's true. I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's a common cliche. This is one of the most difficult areas of the game, though. And
Alright, so I dropped that in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I had no energy either.
Yeah, we're gonna try that again. But yes, I do still say this game is very much worth doing the co-op with another person with, because having that second player as your assist just makes some of the difficulty a lot more digestible, but that's by no means a slam to the solo runs. Like, I still started off with any percent by myself because I figured I had no feasible way of doing that co-op at first. And then it just so happened that when I actually attended my first GDQ, Awesome Games 24, David was going as well, and we did our first in-person co-op using one of the Xboxes from World 9. And so we then submitted it to Multithon, shoutouts to them, where we had beaten our, at the time, world record for that. And, oh god. I'm gonna silence myself for just a moment here. This is dicey. Yeah, please, 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 thank you. Just in case I take an extra hit. Okay, I am going to retry here. Because even though they have that health and energy drop, I just figure, just don't bother with that. This is kind of faster. Now, we did pick up a optional item in the run. That was because I got that life up in Area 3 for being very minute of a time loss. It's like well on your way to the boss. If you're low on health, you might as well do it for safety, because it not only gives you a full heal, but it adds 1 point of HP to both Jason and the metal attacker, so very, very generous way of having a health upgrade in the game, if I do say so. Some of the life ups are located in non-side-scrolling sections, so you do have to look for them. One such case being...
Hold.
Yep, I get you. One such case being one of the sub-bosses from here, Area 8. So, on that note of sub-bosses, though, we actually do have one that is mandatory for any percent. It is the antibody cell, and I am going to need another gun power-up. Wonderful, thank you. And boom. Yeah, like I said, Striker...
I'm gonna farm.
I mean...
I got it.
Yeah, okay, fine. Go ahead. Why not?
Okay, I'm good.
There we go. Yeah. Again, Striker. Good for room clearing. Also good to mash with. Ah, there we go. Even better. So, Antibody Cell is going to be a classic Gradius case of shoot the core. This thing tries to have other orbiting cells try to defend it. But we can just say nuts to that. Easy peasy. So here we go. Enjoy the sub-boss theme while it lasts. Ooh, that's not favorable.
There you go.
Thank you. And that'll be that. I realized I was out of...
Didn't even need it.
Yeah, I was actually out of sub-weapon ammo, so that's kind of what botched it out for me anyway. And now we've collected the last key of the run, so onward to the final dungeon of the game. And, yeah, we're, understandably, we're not gonna PB, or at least compared to the time that Dave and I set, but it's still a first-time recorded run for Zero and myself, so it will be a PB in our own way, and that's more than enough for me regardless. So again, thank you so much for everyone that met the incentive. This was a wonderful second showcasing of co-op for Blaster Master. And yeah, onto the Mutant Lords dungeon. Zero, I'll let you explain the nuance of this one.
Oh boy. So yeah, we're just gonna go through these rooms. There is a intended path. We're just gonna go through. I'm gonna farm and just make sure I'm not gonna hit a thing in this room. There we go. Yeah, we're just on our way to the Mutant Lord. The Mutant Lord fight is actually really interesting because the color of the boss determines its weakness.
Well, that'll be the second phase.
Yeah, the second phase. The first phase, we're just gonna mash down.
Yeah, it's a what I like to call the electric tango, and you'll see why. But this is Goez, the original final boss from the original Blaster Master. So here we go. Alright, and then we are going to go to the multi-dimensional overlord for phase 2, and like Zero said, whichever color he chooses will determine what weakness he has, and we want to see him go orange or blue in the case of Striker. If he goes green, I need to make a very fast switch. And time will be on the final hit. So once you hear the sound effect when HP reaches 0, that's blue. Time. Let's go! That's pretty cool. That was actually very lucky right there, because he immediately went green.
That was way better than the fight we got last night.
Yeah, exactly. All right, nicely done, man.
Thank you. Same to you. Nicely done.
Absolutely. I made a few slip-ups along the way, but that's just how this game can go sometimes.
I mean, I did kill you once.
All right, as long as you accept responsibility for it.
Oh, I will do it laughing.
Gosh. So, one final note of the game is that this is the normal ending of the game. This game does have a true ending, and in order to do that, well, there is a bit of a clue behind it. A bit of a maybe vague one, but essentially there is a reason why 100% as a category is a much longer run compared to any percent. But it also has a few bonuses as well, because any percent at the end of the day is more or less a low percent run when you think about it. Still, it is a wonderful category, and again, you also have the added conveniences and liberties of the DLC characters. Definitely buy this game. BMZ1 is quite cheap and goes even cheaper whenever there are Steam sales or digital store sales. Definitely vouch for this game. Again, shout out to the Blaster Master speedrunning community and the devs, as well as any of my friendos that I've made through this game. The voice actors as well, to any people that have voiced these characters, because there are actual Japanese voices for certain versions of the trilogy. And there's some wonderful casting choices. Jason is literally voiced by Giorno Giovanna. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for me in terms of speedrunning. You might see me around, maybe. We'll see. But in terms of that, this will be my one and only run for Pixels for People 25. Thanks again to Karter for having me. Be sure to check out Zero's runs. He's got quite a few going about the schedule tomorrow. And if you would like to follow me, I'm TempestMask1000 here on Twitch, as well as YouTube. My blue sky is Tempest Mask, and my Twitter account is @It'sTempestSteve. And just keep on blasting on, everyone. Until we next meet, ciao, Michi.
See ya.